The EV market is shifting fast. Over 463,000 electric cars sold in the first half of 2026, and these 9 models are moving off dealer lots faster than anything else in America. Number 9. Cadillac Lyriq. The Cadillac Lyriq has proven that American luxury can compete in the electric age, moving 7,500 units in the first half of 2026 to claim the 10th spot on the national bestseller list, and earn Cadillac a 4.9% share of the entire U.S. electric vehicle market. That market share figure is remarkable for a brand that sold 0 electric vehicles just 3 years ago. Cadillac has built genuine momentum behind its EV lineup, surpassing 100,000 cumulative electric vehicle sales in the United States, and the Lyriq remains the anchor of that achievement as the best-selling midsize luxury electric SUV in the country. Starting at $59,000, the Lyriq delivers the kind of presence and road authority that buyers in this segment demand. GM's Ultium platform provides over 300 miles of EPA-estimated range, which comfortably covers daily driving and weekend trips without range anxiety entering the conversation. The ride quality is smooth and composed, absorbing rough pavement with the kind of quiet isolation that Cadillac has delivered for decades in its combustion vehicles. Sales did decline 18% year-over-year in the first half, partly because the new Cadillac Optiq and Vistiq are now sharing the brand's EV buyers across a broader lineup rather than funneling everyone into a single model. But 7,500 units in 6 months still represents strong volume for a vehicle in the luxury electric SUV segment, and Cadillac's overall EV brand sales actually increased. The Lyriq is selling, and it is selling to buyers who could afford anything. Number 8. Lexus RZ. The Lexus RZ is the electric car that nobody expected to be on this list, and that surprise is exactly what makes its sales performance so impressive. Lexus moved 7,800 units in the first half of 2026, a staggering 106% increase over the same period last year, making the RZ the fastest-growing EV by percentage on the entire top 10 chart. That kind of year-over-year doubling does not happen by accident. Lexus thoroughly enhanced the RZ for 2026 with a bigger battery that pushes EPA-estimated range to 301 miles, faster charging capability, improved driving dynamics, and a new sporty trim that car and driver praised in testing. The result is a vehicle that went from being an afterthought in the EV conversation to a legitimate contender that is outselling established competitors with deeper brand recognition in the electric space. Starting at $47,295, the RZ is aggressively priced for a luxury electric SUV, and Lexus has sweetened the deal further with 0% APR financing for 72 months plus $5,000 in bonus cash, a combination that makes the monthly payment competitive with mainstream electric SUVs costing $10,000 less. Quarter 2 alone accounted for 3,300 units according to EV charging stations data, demonstrating that the sales acceleration is continuing into the summer months rather than fading after an initial launch surge. The Toyota and Lexus electrified vehicle lineup saw sales increase 6.5% year-over-year in June, with the RZ contributing significantly to that growth. Lexus built its reputation on reliability, comfort, and quiet luxury, and the 2026 RZ finally delivers those qualities in an electric package with enough range and charging speed to eliminate the compromises that held back earlier versions. Number 7. Honda Prologue. The Honda Prologue sits at a fascinating crossroads where strong sales volume meets an uncertain future, creating one of the most compelling stories in the 2026 EV market. Honda moved 8,407 Prologues in the first half of the year, enough to claim 8th place on the national bestseller chart. Yet that figure represents a 48% decline from the same period last year when the Prologue was the hottest-selling electric SUV in America. The decline tells a story of a vehicle caught between eras. The federal tax credit that fueled the Prologue's explosive 2024 and 2025 sales expired in September 2025, and Honda responded by cutting the 2026 model's price by $7,500 to partially offset the lost incentive. Reports have surfaced that Honda plans to discontinue the Prologue as it transitions to its own dedicated electric platform, which has created uncertainty among buyers who wonder about long-term parts availability and software support. Despite all of that, 8,400 units in 6 months is still a meaningful sales volume that many automakers would celebrate. The Prologue remains a genuinely appealing vehicle, built on GM's Ultium platform with over 300 miles of range, a spacious interior, and the kind of refined driving experience Honda buyers expect. Lease deals have kept transaction prices competitive, and the combination of Honda's trusted brand name and aggressive dealer incentives continues to draw first-time EV buyers who might not consider a Tesla or Hyundai. American Honda posted record first-half 2026 sales of 750,000 total units across the brand, up 2.4%, proving the broader Honda ecosystem remains healthy even as the Prologue's individual trajectory trends downward. The Prologue is selling while it still can, and buyers are getting exceptional value. Number 6. A Ford Mustang Mach-E. The Ford Mustang Mach-E moved 11,000 units in the first half of 2026, a figure that secures 7th place on the national EV bestseller list, while simultaneously representing a painful 46% decline from the 21,000 units Ford sold during the same period last year. That contradiction defines the Mach-E's current position in the market. It remains one of the most popular electric vehicles in America by absolute volume, while losing ground at an alarming rate to newer, cheaper competitors. The year started brutally, with January sales of just 1,000 units representing a 70% year-over-year drop, as the expired federal tax credit and increased competition combined to suppress demand. Ford responded with incentives and pricing adjustments that helped stabilize sales through the spring, and Q2 brought some recovery as the Mach-E reportedly surged 61% in certain monthly comparisons. Starting at $39,840, the Mach-E still offers a compelling package with up to 300 miles of range, Ford's Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving system, and one of the most engaging driving experiences in the electric SUV segment. The ride quality is athletic yet comfortable, and the interior provides 34 cubic feet of cargo space plus the additional front trunk. Ford posted first-half total sales of over 1 million vehicles, with an estimated 12% retail market share in June, demonstrating that the broader brand remains strong even as EV-specific demand has softened. The Mach-E's sales decline is less about the vehicle itself, and more about a market that has exploded with new options since the Mach-E launched. It needs a refresh to recapture buyers who now have choices from Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, and Chevrolet that did not exist 2 years ago. Number 5. Chevy Equinox EV. The Chevrolet Equinox EV moved 16,000 units in the first half of 2026, claiming 5th place on the national EV bestseller chart in what initially appears to be a disappointing story. Sales dropped 41% compared to the same period last year. But the real story behind that number is far more nuanced than a simple decline suggests. Electrek and multiple industry analysts confirmed that the Equinox EV's sales drop is primarily a supply issue, not a demand issue. GM deliberately cut back Equinox EV production as it ramped up the reborn Chevrolet Bolt EV on the same manufacturing lines, creating a temporary constraint that limited the number of Equinox EVs available at dealerships nationwide. Chevrolet's total EV sales, including the Equinox, Blazer, Silverado, and Bolt, actually surged 134% in the first half of the year, proving that GM's electric demand is growing even as individual model allocations shift. Starting at $34,000 before discounts that routinely reach $10,000, the Equinox EV remains one of the best value propositions in the electric vehicle market. Edmunds recorded 356 miles of real-world range in independent testing, exceeding the already generous EPA estimate. The 57 cubic feet of maximum cargo space makes it one of the most practical electric SUVs available, and the ride quality is comfortable and composed. Chevrolet ranked as the second best-selling EV brand in America with a 6% market share and 28,000 total EVs sold through June. In Q2 alone, Chevy sold 17,000 Equinox EVs, a significant acceleration from Q1 that suggests supply is beginning to recover. When production normalizes, the Equinox EV has every ingredient to climb higher on this list. Number 4. Hyundai Ioniq 5. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is the best-selling non-Tesla electric vehicle in America, and it earned that title by moving 20,000 units in the first half of 2026, up 8.6% year-over-year in a market where most competitors saw double-digit declines. That growth is even more impressive when you consider it happened after the federal tax credit expired, meaning every Ioniq 5 sold in 2026 was purchased without the $7,500 incentive that juiced the market for the previous 2 years. Hyundai's strategy was aggressive and effective. Price cuts of up to $9,800 across the lineup dropped the starting price to $35,000, and 0% APR financing for 72 months eliminated interest costs entirely for qualified buyers. The combination turned the Ioniq 5 from a good deal into an irresistible one, and the sales data proves it. May alone accounted for 5,000 units, a 28% increase year-over-year, and the momentum has continued into summer. Hyundai reported record first-half 2026 total sales of 450,000 units, a 3% increase, with the Ioniq 5 serving as the flagship of the brand's electrification push. The 800-volt fast-charging platform, 318-mile EPA estimated range, and top Safety Pick Plus rating from IIHS give the Ioniq 5 a competitive arsenal that no single rival can match at this price point. Hyundai ranked as the third best-selling EV brand in the United States with a 5.8% market share and 26,000 total EVs sold through June. Facebook owner groups report supply beginning to tighten as demand outpaces allocation in some regions. The Ioniq 5 is not just selling fast, it is accelerating while others decelerate. Number 3. Tesla Model 3. The Tesla Model 3 sold 66,000 units in the first half of 2026, securing third place on the national EV bestseller list with a volume that no non-Tesla competitor comes remotely close to matching. To put that number in perspective, the Model 3 alone outsold the combined totals of the 3rd through 10th best-selling EVs on the chart. Yes, sales declined 34% year-over-year, but that context requires understanding what happened in 2025 when the refreshed Highland Model 3 launched to enormous pent-up demand that created an artificially high comparison point. Even after that normalization, 66,000 units in 6 months represents a pace that would make the Model 3 one of the best-selling cars in America, regardless of powertrain. Tesla reported 480,000 total deliveries globally in Q2 2026, a 25% year-over-year increase that crushed Wall Street estimates, and the Model 3 contributed significantly to that blowout quarter. Starting at $42,000, the Model 3 delivers over 300 miles of range, access to the largest fast-charging network in North America, and over-the-air software updates that continuously improve the vehicle. The Model 3 proves that even in a crowded market with dozens of new competitors, execution and infrastructure still win. Number 2. Toyota BZ. The Toyota BZ is the breakout sales story of the 2026 electric vehicle market, rocketing to 17,000 units sold in the first half of the year for a breathtaking 89% year-over-year increase that represents the largest percentage growth of any established EV model on the bestseller chart. Toyota's electric SUV went from being a laggard that critics dismissed as too little, too late, to becoming America's favorite non-Tesla electric car in the span of 12 months. The transformation began with the 2026 refresh that dropped the cumbersome BZ4X name in favor of simply BZ, added meaningful range and power improvements, and sharpened the design to match the elevated expectations of modern EV buyers. Toyota's dealer network, the largest in America, gives the BZ an infrastructure advantage that newer EV brands cannot replicate. Walk-in customers at any of Toyota's roughly 1,200 U.S. dealerships can see, touch, and test drive the BZ alongside familiar models like the RAV4 and Camry, which removes the friction that keeps mainstream buyers away from EV-only brands. Toyota ranked as the 5th best-selling EV brand in the United States with a 5% market share, and the company doubled its overall EV sales year-over-year. Electrek reported that the BZ outpaced the Chevy Equinox EV in first-half sales despite being a single model competing against Chevrolet's broader EV portfolio. Quarter 2 alone delivered 7,500 BZ units, maintaining strong momentum heading into summer. Starting in the mid-$30,000 range with Toyota's legendary reliability reputation backing it, the BZ appeals to exactly the kind of cautious, brand-loyal buyer who is waiting for a trusted manufacturer to deliver a credible electric SUV. Toyota finally delivered, and the market responded emphatically. Number 1. Tesla Model Y. The Tesla Model Y is not just the fastest-selling electric car in America. It is the fastest-selling electric car in America by such an enormous margin that the gap between first and second place is almost incomprehensible. Tesla moved 163,000 Model Y units in the first half of 2026, an 8.8% increase year-over-year, in a market where total EV sales declined roughly 10% from the previous year. That means the Model Y grew while the market shrank, capturing an even larger share of a contracting pie. The 163,000 figure is nearly 2.5 times the Model 3's second-place total and almost 8 times the Ioniq 5's third-place volume. No other vehicle, electric or otherwise, demonstrates this level of market dominance in its segment. Tesla delivered 480,000 vehicles globally in Quarter 2 2026, a 25% year-over-year increase that analysts described as spectacular, and the Model Y accounted for the vast majority of that volume. Consumer Reports named it the top pick for electric vehicles in its 2026 rankings, and the most reliable electric vehicle overall based on survey data from hundreds of thousands of owners. Starting at $39,000, the refreshed 2026 Model Y delivered 321 miles of EPA estimated range, and Consumer Reports recorded 331 miles in their own highway range test. Tesla just launched the Model YL, a longer 6-seat variant starting at $61,990, which will expand the addressable market further into the 3-row family SUV segment. The supercharger network, the over-the-air update ecosystem, and the brand's cultural presence create a flywheel that competitors have not been able to slow down, let alone stop. The Model Y is not just winning, it is lapping the field. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.